and welcome to the Flourishing Introvert Talks with me, Jo Rawbone. This is the podcast that celebrates the natural gifts of introverts so that we can flourish in all situations. Episode 198, The Quiet Art of Letting Go, or How to Shed What No Longer Serves Us as Naturally as the Trees Shed Their Leaves. I've noticed that for many introverts, including me, our preference for looking inward extends to the way we approach letting go once our decision of what to let go of has been made. And this seems to apply whether it's material possessions or non-tangibles like beliefs, expectations and the like. While the process may appear subtle and even effortless in some cases, make no mistake, it's a deliberate and intentional journey that reveals the unique strength and character of introverts. So in this episode, I'll be sharing some processes for actually letting go, especially of the things that are harder to shed. This may include things that we have an emotional attachment to, things that we have spent good money on, so were a considered purchase at the time, or things we're familiar with and that have served us well in the past. As I explored last week, there are various ways to go about the decision-making of what to let go of, and we introverts are known for our thoughtful, contemplative nature and, on occasions, our overthinking. So when we decide it's time to let go of something, whether it's a physical possession or an emotional attachment, we don't rush into it typically. We like to take time to reflect on our decision, to be doubly sure it's the right thing to do, and that we have the strength of will to carry through the required action. And of course, the actions are many and varied. Putting a physical item that we have no emotional attachment to and that we've decided is no longer needed is relatively easy to put into a charity bag or to donate to Goodwill. But that is very different to letting go of a habit, an expectation, or something that has sentimental value. Letting go is seldom easy if there is emotional processing to be done, and many of us hold our emotions in specific ways. I remember the first time I came across this idea of holding during a Women into Leadership course I was doing through Cranfield School of Management. That course was definitely a pivotal moment for me, as it was also when I took the Myers-Briggs type indicator and found out that what made me me and different was my introversion. Anyway, from the work we did around bioenergetics, or how we hold on to energy, I recognised that my holding patterns are, in order of magnitude, hold in, which comes with an open heart but a lived assumption of, if I don't keep myself in, people will disapprove of me. As is typical with this holding pattern, I feel the tension in my shoulders mostly. I also have a degree of hold back, which comes with playfulness and love, but an assumed reality of, if I open my heart, I'll be rejected. I feel this in my neck and upper chest. And finally, I have a side order of hold up, which is about thinking I must be extra special, heroic even, to be loved. I feel this in my neck and shoulders too. It's no wonder my massage therapists always comment on the tightness and knots in my neck and upper back, is it? Which reminds me, time to book another therapeutic massage and get back to yoga to help me get rid of this stuckness. So I don't ignore my feelings or emotions anymore, but that's taken time and work, as I've spoken about in previous episodes. These days, I really allow myself to feel the emotions associated with the decisions I'm making, but it's usually done in private. Whether it's sadness, nostalgia, or even relief, introverts like me are likely to give ourselves the space to process these emotions fully. And that's a good thing, because this emotional processing is a crucial step in our journey to closure and acceptance. It is quite common for we introverts to adopt a mindful approach to the process of letting go. We're unlikely to just toss aside our possessions or relationships casually without a second glance. I, for one, prefer to give things a proper farewell. Just me? Oh well. When parting with a material possession, I prefer to sell it to someone who will appreciate it, or donate it to a worthy cause, or pass it on to a friend or family member. In my opinion, there is far too much waste, built-in obsolescence, and acceptance of the disposability of things these days. I was taught to make, do and mend, yet I know people who don't even own a needle and thread or any tools. The skills my mother taught me at her knee and that my father taught me in the garage still serve me well to this day and are even the source of some of my favourite pastimes. In the case of non-material stuff, I find the ceremony of letting go really therapeutic. We wrote things we were leaving behind on a piece of paper, took them to the fire and placed them in the fire as we said what they were. There is something both final and satisfying about watching things like that smoulder, catch light and then disappear in a puff of smoke. There seems no return from that somehow. If it's habits I need to let go of, I gain strength from the fact that, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, it's change by choice, not by reaction. As he reminds us, why wait until things are so bad before we change? I then use a process, probably the intentional change process, or maybe Charles Duhigg's habit changing process, to let go of old ways of being that no longer serve me. I am so reassured that as habits are learned ways of behaving that become automatic, I can therefore learn new ways that will also become automatic. This often requires the Lewin approach to change, which is to unfreeze, change, and then refreeze. As he said, motivation for change must be generated before change can occur. One must be helped to re-examine many cherished assumptions about oneself and one's relations to others. So, having a clear vision of the future, how and who I want to be, enables me to let go of limiting beliefs that are holding me back, assumptions about who I am and how the world is, and the expectations others have of who and how I should be. These things are more difficult to let go of than those material possessions that will serve someone else. This is about having a mindset and philosophy that serves me first and foremost, and no, that is not selfish. That's what enables me to be resourced to be able to then give of myself generously and with love. When changing habits, and to some degree when letting go of things, we need to recognise the void and deal with it appropriately. With material possessions, there is no need to fill the void. In fact, having scarcity in this life of material excess is something I aspire to in my now golden days. It's funny, isn't it, how we spend our earlier years acquiring stuff, only to realise in later years that we never really needed it. Time to be honest with you here, though. I still have my tsundoku habit of buying more books than I can ever read, and I am still working towards a minimalist way of living. So embrace, appreciate and cherish the void created by the material things you've let go of. More on this later. When it comes to habits and even our thinking, we need to treat this void a little differently though. You see, the subconscious really doesn't like a void or emptiness. That's why when it comes to habits, it's best to replace one with another, more preferable habit. Have you ever lost weight only to find it all and more again? I know I have. There may well be a void that we create by letting go of others' expectations, and this probably needs to be filled with our boundaries, their installation, maintenance and defence. But fill these voids mindfully. Don't rush to fill them for the sake of it. Empty spaces usually present opportunities for growth and renewal. Instead of rushing to fill the void with something new, give yourself a little time to acknowledge the absence of whatever you've let go of, adapt to the change, and discover what new possibilities might emerge. It's this mindful approach that ensures that the transition is respectful and meaningful. At this point, I'd like to share the ritual I use when letting go. Please feel free to borrow it or use it as an idea to create your own ritual. There are 5 simple steps. Firstly, find yourself a sacred place for this ritual, appropriate to what you're letting go of. I have what I consider a non-religious altar on my mantelpiece in my lounge. I light candles and burn whatever incense feels appropriate. You find what works for you. Secondly, thank whatever it is you're letting go of as you let it go. After all, it has served you in some way and you've chosen to hang on to it for however long. I found that having a good riddance attitude doesn't have the right energy for me at this point. Number 3 on the list is reaffirm how life is without the thing you've let go of, and in the most positive and realistic terms possible. Use the present tense as you talk about that, and remember, thoughts become things. 4th on the list is welcome in the new space if it's physical, or the new habit or behaviour if you've chosen to fill the void immediately. And the final step in my process, express gratitude for the learning you've acquired along the way and the new habit or behaviour that is now supporting you on the next stage of your journey. This ritual allows me to honour endings in an appropriate way, to welcome new beginnings, including the unknown that will inevitably emerge, and it allows me to realign with my purpose, my passion, and my values. It is both intentional and gentle, so truly my kind of process. It allows me to shed the unnecessary and uncover a deeper sense of who I am. For me, this letting go or shedding process is a powerful and transformative experience. Understandably, I need to allow for a period of replenishment following a ritual like this. I shared a week or 2 back that one of the things I need to let go of is taking myself too seriously. And it's working already, as even though I was talking about introverted leadership at a hugely important business seminar last week, I was able to laugh at myself during the presentation and had the audience laughing with me too. So I know these rituals work. And if you know that you're being held back by some limiting beliefs, please take a look at the self-paced course on my website. It's easy to spot and unsurprisingly called Flip Your Limiting Beliefs, and I'll make sure that the link is in the show notes. But I've also had some clients struggle to identify the non-tangible things that they need to let go of. Probably a case of an over-anxious inner critic wondering if they'll still have a job. So I've created a checklist for you to ponder, which you can download for free. I'll make sure the link is in the show notes. In conclusion, the process of letting go for introverts is a deliberate and introspective journey. It follows purposeful decision-making and involves embracing emotions, intentional action, honouring endings, embracing the unknown, and quiet reflection. The intention of this shedding, just like the trees, is to feel lighter, to feel ready for the journey ahead, more purposeful and more joyful once the process is complete. Shedding is merely a necessary step in the service of a more fulfilled life. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, then please subscribe, rate us and leave a comment, because we know that helps other people find the podcast. And if other people find us, other introverts can flourish.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.